Good day. What a wonderful Wednesday that we are experiencing today. I know in some areas we are having a little rain. Some areas are heavy downpours. Some are just drizzle. And we'll go straight into the news. The Trinidad and Tobago's Manufacturers Association has warned that the proposed 76% increase in natural gas prices by the state-owned National Gas Company from $3 to $5.30 could place an additional strain on businesses already facing higher electricity and shipping costs, raising the risk of wider inflation. In response to the TTMA has written to NGC urging that the increase of light industrial customers or non-energy manufacturers begin at $4 per MMBtu. In 2026, followed by annual increases of about 4% over a 3-year period ending in 2028. NGC Chairman Gerald Ramdeen has defended the proposed adjustment, arguing that non-energy manufacturers have benefited for more than a decade from heavily subsidized gas prices sold below NGC's acquisition costs, with no clear evidence that the savings were passed on to consumers. He said the current board would not continue what is considered an unsustainable financial practice. On January 14th, TTMA President Dale Parson wrote to Ramdeen under the subject line NGC exorbitant rate increase requests for reduction non-energy manufacturers. In further news, senior officers of Trinidad and Tobago Police Service say police will continue to defend themselves when confronted by armed criminals following a police-involved shooting in St. Augustine that left one man dead and a woman critically injured. The incident occurred after officers pursued a vehicle involved in a high-speed chase from Maloney along the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. Police said the suspects opened fire on the officers, who returned fire in keeping with the use of force policy. The vehicle later crashed and both occupants were taken to hospital, where the driver, identified as Joshua Samaru, died. A firearm was reportedly recovered from the vehicle. Police rejected claims that officers were using excessive force, stressing they were responding to reports from the command center. The shooting brings the number of police-involved shootings for 2026 to 4. Residents nearby described fear during the incident, though some community members expressed support to police actions. The Police Complaints Authority said it would respond to the matter. Meanwhile, in news, 27-year-old Diane Dean was found hanging at her home in Cleaver Heights, Arima on the night of Monday, January 19th. The media understands that Dean may have been subjected to ongoing verbal, mental, and psychological abuse by a male relative. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding her death. Dean, who was reportedly a law student, was the daughter of a well-known businessman in the Northeastern Division. Her death has sent shockwaves throughout the Arima community as investigations continue. More with news. A Signal Hill man has been charged with the murder of 25-year-old Jamil Fraser, Tobago's first homicide for 2026. Shawnell Thomas appeared before the Scarborough Magistrate Court on Monday where he was formally charged with murder. He was remanded into custody and his case was adjourned to September 15th for a sufficiency hearing. Reports state that around 10:34 p.m. on Friday, January 9th, Fraser of Cornell Rock Road, Signal Hill, was found lying motionless at his home. Police were alerted and responded to the scene shortly after. Officers observed what appeared to be gunshot wounds to Fraser's head. A district medical officer later pronounced him dead just before midnight. His body was subsequently taken to the Scarborough General Hospital mortuary, where a post-mortem examination was conducted to determine the exact cause of death. More with news. A High Court judge has renewed calls for law reform to hold police personally accountable for unlawful arrest instead of taxpayers paying court-awarded damages. Justice Frank C. Prasad made the comments during ruling that a Special Reserve Police officer acted maliciously and outside the law during the 2019 arrest and prosecution of Sangre Grande businessman Simmons. The judge found there was no legal basis for the officer's actions, which included an unlawful arrest, 12 hours of detention, and malicious prosecution over a minor incident involving a cigarette. The charges against Simmons were later dismissed after the officer failed to attend court. Justice C. Prasad criticized the officer's conduct and warned against a pattern of arbitrary arrests without a reasonable cause. He urged Parliament to amend the law so damages could be recovered directly from offending officers. Simmons was awarded $75,000 in compensatory damages, $25,000 in exemplary damages, and legal costs. In other stories, the Home Invasion, which is the Self-Defense and Defense of Property Act 2025, officially took effect on January 20th after President Christine Kangaloo issued a proclamation bringing all sections of legislation into force. The proclamation, published as legal notice number 16 in the legal supplement, gives full legal effect to Act number 11 of 2025, which sets out statutory guidance on self-defense and the defense of property in cases of home invasion. Under the Act, the commencement date was required to be fixed by presidential proclamation. In the notice, President Kangaloo stated that it was expedient that all sections of the Act come into operation and formally declared January 20th, 2026 as the start date. The proclamation was issued under the President's hand and sealed at the office of the President in St. Anne's, Trinidad. Past 2025 amid growing public concern over violent home invasions, the legislation seeks to clarify when individuals may lawfully use force to protect themselves, their families, and their homes. With the proclamation now in effect, the law is fully operational and enforceable throughout Trinidad and Tobago. In further stories, reports emerge of a fire on the second floor of the Guardian building on St. Vincent Street, Port of Spain during 7 p.m. last night. News broadcast on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, which was reportedly cut short as the result. Investigations are continuing. And regionally, 2 senior municipal officials have been charged following the seizure of about 20.5 pounds of cocaine at Sangster International Airport on January 16, 2026. The suspect, Trevon Clayton and Latoya Hemmings, were detained while checking in for a New York-bound flight after cocaine was allegedly found in their luggage and cash seized. Clayton later admitted to swallowing cocaine and was taken to hospital where he expelled 82 pellets under police supervision. Hemmings was formally charged with multiple drug-related offenses, including possession, dealing, attempted export, conspiracy, and possession of criminal property. Clayton faces charges of possession of cocaine, dealing in cocaine, multiple counts of attempting to export cocaine, and conspiracy, with police indicating that additional charges may be forthcoming while he remains under medical supervision. Hemmings is set to appear before the St. James Parish Court on Friday, January 23rd, while Clayton's court date is still being finalized. And that's all for your news today. Let's go for a break, and when we come back, we have Bridging the Gap.
You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Hi, I'm Zalisa Budu Singh Rupani, and I'm inviting you to join me for Conversations with Zalisa right here on Real TV. It's not just another talk show, it's a space for real stories, real insight, and real impact. We cover it all: health, law, parenting, relationships, drug and substance abuse, mental health, social issues, and so much more, with expert guests who help bring clarity to life's most important questions. So whether you're looking to be informed, empowered, or simply inspired, this show is for you. Weekdays at 10 a.m. with repeats on Real TV.
Ready to take your sales career to the next level? If you have a passion for connecting with clients, building meaningful relationships, and delivering results, we want you on our team. Join a dynamic, motivated environment where your experience matters, your ideas are valued, and your drive defines your success. Step into a role with real opportunity. Join the sales team at Real TV, where your future begins.
Call us today at 292-6470 or WhatsApp us at 384-7142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
You're viewing Real TV, ultimate in programming. Thanks for choosing us.
So welcome back. So now we're on Bridging the Gap. And I want to go straight into it because I wanted to address one of the news that I read earlier on, the first story that I read. And I wanted people to understand something. Natural gas prices has gone up by 76%. It ain't gone up by 40%. It ain't gone up by 50%. It is up by 76%. And I want us to come to a reality, get a reality check of how serious things are going to be in our country just by the raise in natural gas. Because when they say The businesses said the higher electricity and shipping costs raising the risk of wider inflation. When it reaches the inflation, the next step is recession. So we no longer not tightening belts. Right now we're squeezing. Because this is what is going to happen. When businesses have to pay these prices in natural gas, it causes a lot of job loss in Trinidad and Tobago. So the people that are on the breadline, who are on the breadline now, reality check is more people are going to be on the breadline come 2026 and further. Well, we're in 2026. And we are not realizing the difficulties we may face or will face, because it is no longer $3, it is $5.30 per MMB2. So now people who are working in different businesses, that companies that use natural gas, now they are wondering if their job is secure. Because now businesses will no longer be able to maintain and sustain workers because they cannot afford. Businesses already have to deal with high taxes. And they still have to maintain staff. They have to maintain a company itself. So this don't only affect the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association. It don't only affects them, but it affects the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And what we don't understand is, when we end up with inflation, we could reach the recession, and then you know who we will end up with? The IMF. And when the IMF gets involved, I'm not secure, you're not secure, nobody is secured. Nobody is secured. And I have to say that the NGC chairman, Mr. Ramdeen, well, I really want to say, I ain't going to say it. Because it says that he defended the proposed adjustment, arguing that non-energy manufacturers have benefited for more than a decade from heavily subsidized gas prices so below NGC's acquisition cost, with no clear evidence that the savings were passed on to consumers. So, in other words, to me, how I perceive it, you don't care about the country's future and how it affects. Because a lot of things that are happening now, it is affecting us badly. Affecting our livelihood. So you making this statement is a slap in the face to Trinidad and Tobago. It is a total slap in the face to us, Trinidad and Tobago. And I say I wanted to address that because I think people don't understand how serious and how severe this increase is going to affect us here in Trinidad and Tobago. We will reach to a point where we will have no work and they will have to hike up the prices and a lot of things, because if they have to if the cost of shipping, we go have to plant cassava, yam, dasheen, and live off of that. Because this now affects you from buying groceries, well, local stuff, well, even some, because local companies will have to hike up their prices as well. So when you're paying $16 for bread, you might end up paying $20 for bread. So you have to prepare yourself to start to need flour. People don't know how serious this is. When you are accustomed going in the grocery and spending $1,000 in the grocery for the month, it might just end up that you have to end up spending $1,800. Because this affects every living thing, everything that surrounds us. It affects us. And that is what I am studying. How are we going to survive? Make it worse for those that are unemployed at this point in time because they lost their jobs. How are they going to survive? And this is the kind of reality check I like to bring to you all. Because now consumers will be under so much strain. And I'm going to tell you this, things like these, I should say, causes unrest in a country. Because when a man can't eat and he belly in his hand and he's hungry, it tends to make you angry. And Mr. Ramdeen, is like a slap in the face. Because you hear what you're not doing. You're not thinking about the poor man. You're not thinking about the poor man who wants to go out there and fight and look for a dollar to supply for his family. Because when one thing raises, everything else is raised. It affects all of us. This drastic raise is not 40%, 76%. This is very close to 100%. And I see I needed to address that. I had to address it. And something else I wanted to address too, We as a nation, we have a head, which is our president. Then we have the prime minister. Then we have judiciary. Then we have cabinet, or however it goes in hand in hand. And one thing we have to, and I will say before we go to a break, because I want to read that statement, and I want to talk about it, expound on it a little bit. Our president is the one in charge and makes the final decision in anything that we need to do. If we have to go to war, for any important decision, our president makes that decision. She has the final say. And if you can't respect your president, who is we? Because statements are being made and the blatant disrespect and no remorse for your statements is unacceptable. And as for somebody who is below the president, because the president is your boss, the president is over you. That is, she has more authority than you. And your blatant disrespect for the decisions that she made, it is unacceptable. And what I have to say is, what example are you setting? That's why I just always go back to this. Leaders have to set an example for the younger ones that are coming up in Trinidad and Tobago. You all are the ones that set the example. We're supposed to emulate from you. But when you are disrespecting the president of Trinidad and Tobago, with no remorse, how do you expect young people to respect authority? How do you expect them to respect authority? It doesn't matter how you feel personally. It don't matter how you feel deep down inside because of what political party whoever affiliated with. But at the end of the day, that is your president. And sometimes there's always say, when you have nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. That is your president. That is your superior. Like it or not. The same way how the opposition have to respect you as a prime minister. Because you hold authority over them and over the country. The same way they have to give you respect. And as a leader, I think you are making a lot of crazy statements. A lot of crazy statements. And not being held accountable for the statements that you make. And it is high time she stands accountable for her statements. We need to start holding her accountable. Because you cannot be disrespecting the president. You're disrespecting CARICOM. You show total blatant disrespect to CARICOM. A group of islands that we had a brother and sisterhood with that no longer wants to deal with us because of your blatant disrespect. But we're going for a break, and when we come back, I am going to read a statement that was said by one of the independent senators, and you will hear exactly what was said about the president and the independent senators. We'll be right back.
You're viewing Real TV, ultimate in programming. Thanks for choosing us.
Ready to take your sales career to the next level? If you have a passion for connecting with clients, building meaningful relationships, and delivering results, we want you on our team. Join a dynamic, motivated environment where your experience matters, your ideas are valued, and your drive defines your success. Step into a role with real opportunity. Join the sales team at Real TV, where your future begins.
Call us today at 2926470 or WhatsApp us at 3847142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
I am Zalisa Budu Singh Rupani, inviting you to join me for the rebirth of Apne Sitare, Our Stars, a vibrant and spectacular show celebrating the incredible local talents of the sons and daughters of Trinidad and Tobago. Experience the beauty of our culture through singing, dancing, and musical performances as we keep the arts alive and shining bright. Tune in right here on Real TV every Sunday from 1 p.m. for Apne Sitare, Our Stars. See you there. You're viewing Real TV, Thanks for choosing us.
Welcome back. So before we went on the break, we were talking about respect for those that are in authority, those that are over us that are in authority. I want you to share the light because I want you to hear the statement, to know the utter disrespect that is going on here from leaders that's supposed to be leaders. Leaders are supposed to set an example. And I will read this. Independent Senator Dr. Marlene Axe and Opposition Senator Faris Alwari have rejected criticisms from Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who has questioned the independence of members of the Senate's independent bench. They describe our comments as unfortunate and concerning. So she was questioning the senators, the independent senators that were selected by the president. Speaking on Monday ahead of yesterday's Senate debate on law reform, which is the zones of special operation, special community and development measures bill, Persad-Bissessar, she would not be surprised if senators appointed, listen to the statement, you have the audacity to question the president's actions by picking independent senators, her independent senators, that's supposed to hold no obligations to neither side, PNM or UNC. They are the impartial group in parliament. Right? Persad-Bissessar said she would not be surprised if senators appointed by President Christine Kangaloo voted against the measure. The Prime Minister claimed the independent senators were not truly independent, arguing they were appointed by President who described as former low-level PNM functionary. You have the audacity to say that the president was a former low-level PNM functionary. Hear the level of disrespect. Hear the level of disrespect. And we sitting down and allowing these kind of statements being passed outside and inside of parliament. And nobody's holding these people accountable. Nobody holding these people accountable. Yes, I know it's SOE, everybody afraid to talk. But at the end of the day, you have rights. Once you don't make threats, and you are not in a disrespectful way, cussing and carrying on, but you have rights to speak. You have rights to speak. So the independent said, she said, firstly, they are not independent. Secondly, they will present their usual vapid and shallow contributions. You know how disrespectful this lady is? their usual vapid and shallow contributions and then most likely vote with the PNM in line with their voting history. Prasad Pisasa said, who really cares if they support or not? We will move on with our other plans to protect citizens. This is how disrespectful. These are the kind of statements that are being made. So speaking with the media yesterday outside the parliament, Dr. Arts labeled the Prime Minister's position unfortunate, firmly rejecting suggestions of collusion or partisan alignment among the 9 independent senators. Only hearing what really going on. Imagine we have a prime minister which says that nobody in the opposition can question her. Said in parliament. And then now you are giving your cabinet members not the authority but the bravery to be disrespectful as well. So is he blind leading the blind with all of them? And we cannot sit down and allow things like that to be continuing to go on. We cannot allow it. I didn't mind if you bash the PNM senators and you say they pick them PNM senators and you bash. But you are disrespecting the appointments of the president. So what you blatant, you telling her, to hell with her. To hell with her choices. That is what you are trying to say. You questioning the credentials of these independent senators. Their contributions. These are the things that they're doing, you know. You're questioning their credentials indirectly and their contributions that they have made in order to be appointed as an independent senator. Because when the president appoints you, it's the amount of contributions you made to your country. The service you gave. So when me, if I was an independent senator and I know I gave real service to my country, I am highly qualified for the position, and you come outside to come and question me, I will feel so disrespected. And it is high time she should be held accountable. Too many vile and wild statements are being passed. And because we're not speaking out, she feels she can do as she please. And if it was the other way around or the other party, I would have said the same thing too, you know. I would have said the same thing too. Respect your president. Have some respect. And all of us just sit down there, kiki kaka in the comments. Everybody in the comments, kiki, you hear what she said? Like it was a joke. That is why she will do as she please. And it is very wrong that you question these people's credentials and their contributions and what they can bring to the independent table. I would have felt so highly disrespected. And every time statements are being made, wild and vile statements, reckless statements are being made, everybody will talk about it for one day, tree, because we have something called 3 and 9 day memory. And after that, we forget about it. But this year, disrespecting the president, it is unacceptable and highly disgusting. They always say when they have nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. And I hope the president comes out and addresses this. It needs to be addressed. It should not be left and be swept under the rug. And that is a topic I wanted to touch on as well. I wanted to touch on that. Because it is ridiculous. When I saw that last night, I just came through it. And after that, I said, let me go into it a little more. And this morning I was looking for some videos, but unfortunately, it could not have happened that way. Not everything could happen in our, every time it could happen or go our way. But you cannot call yourself, and you know what the next thing too? You are a woman disrespecting a woman. They just always say woman is the worst enemy, eh? You are a woman, a leader, prime minister, disrespecting another woman. Disrespecting another woman. So it shows plainly you have no respect for nobody. We were talking about, I would not forget, when the whole promotion was woman power. Because it's the first time, I think in our history, we have a female prime minister, a female president, and a female opposition leader. And everybody was promoting this woman power. Yes, 3 women are leaders in our country. And I sat down there and I said, how long it is going to last for? Because women have a weakness. They love to tear down each other. Even though you do not like the political party that she formerly represented or was a part of and was a minister of and an MP, even though you didn't like the party, you don't like the party, it does not give you the right and the position, because now she's the head of state. Now she's the head of state. It don't give you the right to come now, because I was hearing this woman power talk going on for a while. It was going on for so long. And then you come now and disrespecting the president. Feeling comfortable as a woman to disrespect the president and question her actions. Questioning her actions and throwing talk. But I say I wanted to address that. And let me tell you something, because I will end on this topic. Because I want to come to a closing with it. Trinidad and Tobago, is high time we need to have our leaders stand accountability for their actions and statements. Stop being click activists and have 9-day memory. Because we tend to forget things that are said and things that have been done. We need to come out of that 9-day memory. And we need to hold her accountable for this statement that she made, which is unacceptable. Because hear what she said, and I'll say it again, you know. She said, firstly, they are not independent. Talking about the independent senators. Who are you to question the capabilities of an independent senator? The only way you can do that is if you find some sort of impartiality. If you find some kind of bubble or propaganda going on inside within the group, then now you can say, here what really going on in the independent Senate? Secondly, they will present their usual vapid and shallow. You hear that? Their vapid and shallow contributions. And then most likely vote with the PNM in line with their voting history. Making accusations that you probably are not sure about. Who really cares? As she goes on, who really cares? What prime minister comes out and speak in that kind of manner? Who really cares? So when you're saying who really cares, I honestly feel offended, personally. Because when you have a mentality like that, I am now questioning if you care for me as a citizen. Now I'm questioning if that is the mentality that you are portraying. I am questioning if you really care for us. She said, who really cares if they support or not? Because that is the mentality. We will move on with our other plans to protect citizens. Double standard statement. Because you can't tell me who really cares and then come in to tell me about protecting the citizens. Because everybody in Parliament has a contribution towards Trinidad and Tobago. Might be different and different, right, wrong, they all have a contribution to serve us in Trinidad and Tobago. So when you say who really cares, if they support or not, because at the end of the day, they are the impartial group, they are the neutral group. So when you say that, and then you come in to say to protect our citizens, again, man cannot double standard. It gives him a double standard kind of reading. So what I'm going on to say, we need to start holding leaders, and now I'm talking in general. Leaders, MPs, councillors, everybody needs to be held accountable for their actions and statements. This is a general statement across the board. In anything that they do. If it affects you as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, it is high time we start holding these people accountable by their statements and actions. Don't matter the political party. Because now we're not talking about who supporting who. We're talking about who are the people that represent us in Trinidad and Tobago. Could be your councillor, could be your MP, could be your alderman, your mayor, your prime minister, whoever it may be. We need to start making these people apologize for certain statements that may be sometimes detrimental, can cause havoc. Because let me tell tell you something. In this time right now, where people are under frustration, it's how people are frustrated right now. And making statements that affect us in Trinidad and Tobago, it is time we make them hold some sort of accountability and responsibility for their statements and their actions. Because at the end of the day, they're supposed to represent us. They are the lawmakers. They pass the bills. And when you hear people making statements, you're calling this one a midget. You're disrespecting one another in the parliament. And then want to call on themselves leaders. High time we start holding these people accountable. So in closing with that, women and women should not tear down each other. And as a woman prime minister, instead of bringing down your president, disrespecting the authority, you were supposed to set the example to uplift. Uplift, even though you all have different political affiliations. Uplift one another. Do not disrespect the person that has authority over you, has authority over the country, who makes the final decisions. So come, let me do better than that now, man. Yesterday I gave you ratings. I rate you for a statement that you made. I applaud you for it. Because I am a person, I'm very impartial. If you make a statement that I agree with, I don't care what political party you're from. But yesterday I gave Jack the jacket. But to come and to read this now, and use the same one that's saying parents should be held accountable for children bullying and violence, but you outside here bullying your president. But I'm going with that. We're going for a break, and when we come back, we have more Bridging the Gap. Today is an important topic, and today I want to address certain things, and I have a lot of videos to show. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
viewing Real TV, ultimate in programming. Thanks for choosing us.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Hi, I'm Zalisa Budu Singh Rupani, and I'm inviting you to join me for Conversations with Zalisa right here on Real TV. It's not just another talk show, it's a space for real stories, real insight, and real impact. We cover it all: health, law, parenting, relationships, drug and substance abuse, mental health, social issues, and so much more, with expert guests who help bring clarity to life's most important questions. So whether you're looking to be informed, empowered, or simply inspired, this show is for you. Weekdays at 10 a.m. with repeats on Real TV.
When security matters most, choose Catch Security Services Limited. We are proudly approved by the Ministry of Homeland Security. We protect your home, business, community, and much more. Our services include professional baton and armed officers, specialized K-9 units, mobile patrols, secure cash pickups, secure transport, and pepper spray applications and supply coming soon. Don't wait. Secure your assets now. Contact Catch Security today. Call 622-6601, email info@cssl-tt.com, or visit our office at 30-32 Saddle Road, Maraval.
You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
Alright, so welcome back. Well, we were on the topic and we were trying to get the videos, but we got the videos for you all. And I wanted you all to see for yourself. I didn't just want to read and, just read out whatever. I like people having a visual and seeing for themselves exactly what. So we have 3 statements from the Prime Minister, from the opposition senator, and independent senator, Ms. Marlene Arts. If you can play those videos for us.
Main focus against trafficking, against transnational organized crime. And today I make no apology for standing side by side with our oldest trading partner, the leader of the free world, in this hemisphere. I make no apology today. I'm happy, and I'm happy that we did it. I'm happy. And if you had some good lawyers on your side, we have some very good ones here, including the Honorable Attorney General, they will tell you there was no international law that was breached when we were taking out people who were being taken out in their boats, trafficking, human trafficking, drugs.
The Prime Minister is entitled to her view. The most important thing is that the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago affords any president, not the current sitting president, but any president is afforded the opportunity to identify 9 individuals who, in the president's view, can bring to bear a cross-fertilization of ideas and perspectives to represent the interests of the people in Trinidad and Tobago. So here we are. 9 of us sit on the independent bench, appointed by Her Excellency, grateful for the opportunity to represent the views of the average Trinbagonian. We're a population of 1.5 or thereabouts, and if you have 9 persons who independently, because there is no collusion, we don't call and chat and have a WhatsApp and say, well, what do you think about this? We come to and we bring our independent professional perspectives. I think that is something that should not be frowned upon, and sometimes just for the edification of the general public. Sometimes we get very short notice to come to Parliament and we have to prepare, because since we're in the carnival season, I will teeth a line from a carnival song. Once we touch stage, we have to perform. And we bring to that performance the best of our individual perspectives, the best of our professional judgment in the interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So, I'm putting that out there. If anyone thinks otherwise, that's unfortunate, but we really do try our best to bring our professional perspectives to bear on the issues in a non-partisan way, but as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and representing the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who don't have the opportunity per se to be here in the Parliament to represent themselves.
If let me ask you just for a second, put on your economics cap for me, Ma'am.
Sure.
The Prime Minister also signaled government's intention to pull out of the upcoming energy conference, she had some strong words for the energy chamber as well, labeling them as self-serving and not righteous in that regard.
Okay.
As the country seeks to lure investors, do you think this move could perhaps work against government?
Well, again, I've not had the opportunity to see the comments. I'm going based on what you've shared with me, but I do think that since many of our eggs continue to be in the energy basket, we should temper the language so that we don't inadvertently run investors, so to speak, because we still are separate and apart from the conversations around Dragon, and we know that those conversations are in a flux. Separate and apart from those conversations, we're having other conversations around other fields in the energy sector, and we do need support from both local and international investors to help us realize some of those returns. So that's what I would say in terms of the comments as you have shared them. I've not seen the comments, but I do think that we need to be mindful that we're not yet out of the woods. We still have many rivers to cross, so to speak, in the energy sector. You're most welcome.
Dr. Arts, I'm not too sure if you were asked this question before, but the Prime Minister would have again said that the independent senators are not truly independent. How do you respond to that?
Yes, I've answered that question at length for the CNC3 colleague, and what I said I shall repeat, that the 9 of us bring our individual professional perspectives to the table, and it is that cross-fertilization of those independent perspectives that allow us to represent the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, which is what we were constitutionally appointed to do. We weren't appointed, by VAP, so to speak. The Constitution does provide for professionals to be appointed by the President and not by this President. That has been in our Constitution for many years. So, as I said, it's unfortunate that we're labelled that way, because we do put a lot of labour behind the scenes, and when the stage lights go on in the Senate, we do stand up and represent the population. So that is what I'd like to say on that.
The contributions of these independent senators has also been described as shallow. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I answered it in the first part. I think it's an unfortunate descriptor. I've not heard it myself. I'm being fed the information by you as journalists. But that is unfortunate because, as I said, we do research. And as I was saying to your colleague before, sometimes we get order papers very late to be called to Parliament, and you have to drop whatever you're doing and you have to prepare because, as I said to your colleague, in Carnival season, one of the artists has said, when you touch the stage, you need to perform. So that is what we do, and we do that to the best of our ability in the interest of the Trinidad and Tobago population.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Take care.
Park, so you heard that from the independent senator, Dr. Marlene Axe. And I'm getting more statements here. So they say her comments sparked from backlash from several opposition members after she suggested she would not be surprised if independent senators fail to support the zone of special operations. So I said that the legislation. But when questioned on whether she wished to retract her remarks, the Prime Minister was blunt. Why should I regret telling the truth? She said, accusing the senators of lacking the courage to contest elections and of occupying seats in Parliament without a mandate from the electorate. She said these shameless president senators had no courage to contest any election. She charged, adding that the public knew they were appointed because they were bootlickers. Only any disrespect, eh? Because they were bootlickers and brown-nosers. Prasad Bissessar went further, dismissing what she described as their hypocritically pious behavior and accusing them of using their positions for self-promotion and personal business opportunities rather than public service. What I want to say is, these comments should never come out the mouth of no Prime Minister. It doesn't matter how you feel personally. None of these comments should come out the mouth of no Prime Minister. Not only in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean by extension. Because to me, these statements, I don't know how people would personally feel, but these statements are very reckless. These are statements that you are making. I don't know if she made it in Parliament. She made it outside of Parliament. But imagine you calling professionals, accredited professionals, bootlickers and brown-nosers. I am very appalled. Where is the diplomacy? Where's the class? There's no coup. Making statements like that and calling them shameless president senators as a leader of a country. As a leader. And then you want to come, and this is why I'm saying, the double standard I cannot take. Because if you are a leader and you're supposed to lead a flock, because we're supposed to be the quote-unquote flock, and you're supposed to lead a flock, you are the leader, and then you are coming to say, people have to be accountable, be held accountable for their children, bullying and using violence. But then now, in the same tongue, you are coming out here and using remarks like this to people, to the president and people who are appointed by the president. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. There are a lot of things that you do that people don't like. There are a lot of things that you do that some people will like. But you don't come out and make vile and reckless statements like that, calling people bootlickers and brown-nosers. That is unacceptable. And then I forget, you say you don't. You're okay. But I have a next video here, and this is a response by the opposition Senator Faris Alwari. If we can play that video.
Mrs. Prasad Bissessar is exercising a form of character demonstration that I have never associated with her previously. Her statements are suffice it to say, remarkable. Everything from her views on the international arena, to kill them violently, to attacks on the independent senators. This is not a personality of hers that I've seen before. Certainly, I've seen Mrs. Prasad Bisesa as the Prime Minister of this country for 5 years when I was in opposition the first time. I'm very concerned. The statements are unhinged. They don't demonstrate a confidence in the democracy and rule of law of Trinidad and Tobago. They are far away from the tenets of law that all of us know. I often reflect, having come out of government myself and having sat as Attorney General for many years, whether I or anyone in my political party or anyone else in Trinidad could get away with the statements that are being made, and the answer is no. So I am deeply concerned. Today we're going into a debate on the special zones of operation. It's a law which I drafted in 2017. But when you go to the draft that I piloted, that I brought for consultation, there was a 2/3 majority in the bill. So Mrs. Prasad Bisesa knows very well that there's serious constitutional issues with the law, which is the reason why we didn't advance the law. Today I'll go through those positions in the Senate. Not because I didn't think that it was worthy of having a look at. After all, I drafted the special zones of operation law in 2017, sent it to the leader of the opposition through Senator Ramdeen then, and to the Law Association and other entities. But here is where you have to step back and say what is best in the interest of your country. And therefore her statements don't really show a confidence in a belief that rule of law has a place in this country. And I would honestly prefer that the Prime Minister reins herself in, because I don't think that it bodes well. You can be confident in your discussions. There is a great amount of admiration you can have for strong people. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa is a strong person, but this version of her doesn't inspire confidence for me.
Let me get your position. As you mentioned, her strong position on matters of national importance. Yesterday, in speaking with her, she really had some strong words for the energy chamber, labeling it as self-serving, greedy, and have acted in a detrimental manner towards citizens of this country, right? She signaled her intention to not participate in the upcoming Energy Chambers conference. Your position on that, in terms of attracting or luring investors and trying to stabilize the economy, the energy institutions play a very important role in the country. Her comments towards the Energy Chamber, what do you make of it?
Again, staggering. Let me put this in the very simple terms. Our economy, our standard of living depends upon the oil and gas sector. The Energy Chamber includes the partners in the energy upstream and downstream, horizontal and vertical relationships. Who's there? BP. Who's there? Shell. Who's there? The energy players in Trinidad and Tobago. How does Mrs. Prasad Bisesa purport to celebrate Dragon and its OFAC license when your partner is Shell? Coquina, partner is Shell. Mannequin, partner is Shell. Exxon.
So that was the remarks of the opposition Senator Faris Alwari. And before we go to a break, because we are due for a break now, time to pay bills, it is something that I have never seen. Yes, I heard statements that was made before, but statements like this, I have never seen her reach to this level of disrespect. I have seen her disrespect fly here and there, but it's something that we could brush off our shoulders sometimes. But this level is the first time I've ever seen it, witnessed it in my years of living. It's the first time I ever witnessed it. And I just hope that some, thoughts reigns in her head where she can find some remorse and retract statements that was being made. So we're going for a break, and when we come back, we have more Bridging the Gap. So we will close off with that. There's something just for you to sink in with. We'll close off with that. But we have more to talk about because I want to address a little issue, and we'll be right back.
You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
Macon Construction Company Limited. Save big whilst building stronger. We build with our Macon innovative building systems, which provides high wind speed, earthquake, sea blast and fire resistance, is thermally and acoustically insulated, provides improved construction timelines and cost savings. We provide construction services from design to finish and everything in between. Macon Construction Company Limited. Building green today with tomorrow's technology. Contact or visit us today.
Ready to take your sales career to the next level? If you have a passion for connecting with clients, building meaningful relationships, and delivering results, we want you on our team. Join a dynamic, motivated environment where your experience matters, your ideas are valued, and your drive defines your success. Step into a role with real opportunity. Join the sales team at Real TV, where your future begins.
Call us today at 292-6470 or WhatsApp us at 384-7142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
Welcome to the Power Play, the most exciting period in sport. Join us every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. as we bring to you all things sport. We break down football, cricket, basketball, all the latest sports in the Caribbean and of course across the world. Right here on Real TV, your station for local sport. Real to the heart, local to the core.
You're viewing Real TV, ultimate in programming. Thanks for choosing us.
Right, so we are back. So we touch on the two current topics that trending right now on social media, on the news. If you listen to the morning news, you listen to the nighttime news, it is trending at this point in time. And I found it fit to address it. Remember, my opinion don't have to be your opinion. You don't have to agree with everything that I say. I speak on how I feel personally. And everybody is entitled to how they feel. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. And as I always say that, your opinion, yes, I respect everybody's opinion, but I don't make it, even if I'm not in agreement, I don't make it affect me mentally. So I'm making that statement, I'm bringing that across. But I want to address something. And too much we see it happening, not only abroad, but it is happening here in Trinidad. And I was watching a live last night, and the guy was weeping like a baby. Handsome guy, weeping like a baby. Had a 12-year-old daughter with a young lady, adores the daughter. Because when I went to Trinidadians, we fast. I went to snoop around in his social media page and literally saw him adoring this little girl. Not to find out, he and the girl, the girl's mother is no longer together. And he was hearing little talks going around that the 12-year-old child was not his. He did not want to believe it, and he decided while they were in court and he was paying maintenance for this child for so many years, he decided to take a paternity test quietly. Not to find out, however long after, that the child is not his. And I want to address something. Too many of us women know exactly men in children's life and have men falling in love for these children. And they know very well these children are not the biological child of the individual. Too many women in Trinidad walking around knowing, because they're probably not sure, or just have some women that malicious. Because probably this individual working for more money. Too many of you women in Trinidad and Tobago doing this kind of wickedness and have these men paying maintenance. It is high time there should be a mandatory law. Once a man has to pay maintenance, a paternity test follows. Not him trying to send in a request for a paternity test or have to spend how many thousands of dollars for a paternity test. It is very unfair. And when I saw this man crying like a baby, weeping like a baby, because he loved this child so much, and the mother knows very well that the child was not his biological child. And some people just have little doubts because they will see the child grow up and the child don't look nothing like them. The child has no resemblance to the father. It is very hurtful and sad that so many men walking up and down in Trinidad and Tobago, some of them not even sure if they are the biological father of the child that they are paying maintenance for. Children walking around with birth papers, carrying the last name of a man that is not their biological father. And it is high time they need to start charging these women, because a lot of them know very well. A lot. It's either they know for sure or they're not sure. But give these men a chance to know if that child belongs to them. And then will they quick to run in a court, in the family court, and ask for maintenance. Wickedness. The height of wickedness. It is time for a law to be passed that these mothers need to be held accountable and be charged, knowing and some of these men paying child support, and they can't get back $1 when they find out. So imagine you taking care of a child for 12 years, paying through the court. Because what all you have to realize, a man in court don't get much representation, you know. Some men in court, women that have more power in the court, you know. And what you only don't understand, it interferes with a man's mental. That's why there's so much of domestic violence. I am sure a lot of men, because of murder, suicide, was because of the cause of finding out. And your women comfortable sit down there and see a man toiling, working hard to mind a child that is not his. And you know what is very sad? Thank God in Trinidad we don't have it. But there's a law in certain states in the United States of America. Once that child carries your last name, in certain states, that last name has to stay there. So maintenance money will continuously coming out of this man's pocket unless he fights it in court. And most of the time they don't get through. salaries, their name is on the board paper, maintenance money still comes out of their salary. But I have a video here with Mr. Fields giving some vital information in an interview. Things that you all should know. What some men have to go through. Toiling hard and working hard to mind a child or see about a child pay maintenance. Money coming out of their salary like clockwork every month or every week. And the child is not their own. So I have a video here with Mr. Rondell Fields, where he was in an interview, giving vital information, things that men go through here in Trinidad and Tobago concerning DNA testing. If we can play that video, please.
Mother the money, and he decided to get remarried. So often, and nothing being done. In 2018, the Joint Select Committee decided to bring us before them to look at the inequities that single fathers face. It was an official parliamentary sitting, Joint Select Committee, and we presented this evidence to them. So this is where this whole thing started from 2018. 2013 it started, but in 2018 we provided evidence to the Joint Select Committee, and based on the evidence we provided in that sitting, they recommended that paternity test be done, and there be a confirmation of paternity before the issuance of child maintenance orders. So they recommended that in the Joint Select Committee hearing, that the Attorney General's office amend the family law to reflect that. And from 2018 to date, nearly 10 years, it has not been done.
So that is what they are fighting for at this point in time, to amend the family laws. But we're going for a break. And when we come back, I have a video where a very sad, where Mr. Fields spoke about a man losing 2 daughters due to maliciousness by a mother paying child support. When we come back.
You're viewing Real TV, ultimate in programming. Thanks for choosing us.
Ready to take your sales career to the next level? If you have a passion for connecting with clients, building meaningful relationships, and delivering results, we want you on our team. Join a dynamic, motivated environment where your experience matters, your ideas are valued, and your drive defines your success. Step into a role with real opportunity. Join the sales team at Real TV, where your future begins.
Call us today at 292-6470 or WhatsApp us at 384-7142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
I am Zalisa Budu Singh Rupani, inviting you to join me for the rebirth of Apne Sitare, Our Stars, a vibrant and spectacular show celebrating the incredible local talents of the sons and daughters of Trinidad and Tobago. Experience the beauty of our culture through singing, dancing, and musical performances as we keep the arts alive and shining bright. Tune in right here on Real TV every Sunday from 1 p.m. for Apne Sitare, Our Stars. See you there. You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
a little difficulty locating that video. But in a nutshell, a police officer, which was his name was not called, his name was not named, was taking care of two girls that were big, from baby to big, and decided to do a paternity test because he was hearing talk circulating. And apparently he went to Mr. Fields and found out the two young ladies were not his children. Not one daughter, but two were not his children. And they said he was in such a devastated mess, in a state of mind, that he almost lost his mind. And the mother knew that the two girls were not his. And he was paying maintenance and taking care of these two young girls for how many years? Because I believe that they were teenagers now. And he found out that the two girls, not one, but two, does not belong to him, are not his biological children. So while a man is there working hard to mind a family, you outside there playing the field. And palming and pinning a child on a man. Because some of all they have no heart. Or they have no feelings. And you sit there comfortable every day, waking up, knowing that child is not that man's own. That is what you call somebody with a black heart, a cold-hearted person. Because you all don't know how badly it affects the man's mental and how it affects him totally, and how it affects the children. How it affects the children. I know people, and I tell some men that are so scared to find out because they don't know how they will deal with it, so they rather not know. So you are minding a child and you're not even sure yourself because you are too scared or too afraid or probably know your temperament. But let me show you how malicious woman is. And this is a real person. You can play that clip, please.
Now, the more you live is the more you see and hear. So me scrolling Facebook, minding my own business. And then I saw this pop up. So apparently this young lady here messaged a police asking them, hey, excuse me, do you do fake DNA test? And the person replied, yes. So now hear me now. That had to be fake. That probably some fake thing, some fake account or something. So I go on and I look up for this person on Facebook. This Kenya Gibson person here. And her account showed up. Boom. And scrolling her wall, she have a little baby. You see some people wicked and deceitful, boy? You know what man going through right now? Minding children or a child that is not their own. And some women very well know that they were sleeping around with Tom, Dick and Harry while they with you. And just imagine you could go and get a fake DNA test. Bring him back and show that man. And he going and feel so good thinking, well, yeah, that is mine. As I always say, when it's dark, will come to light.
This is how far women tend to go. This is how far women tend to go because they know for a fact, and this was circulating social media. This is not something that somebody sent me. This is something that is viral on social media. Well, on TikTok. That you are reaching as far as to message a place that does DNA testing to ask them if they do fake DNA testing. And it is high time they need to find out these places, these labs, and charge them. Because you taking money from somebody to go and fool a man that deserves to know the truth. money instead of sit down and tell this man the truth of the status of he and this child, that you rather go and spend money to pay for a DNA test. And then when we hear domestic violence, in some cases, the same woman that wants to say she bad lucky. This is how malicious, this is how far you all intend to reach. This is how far you all intend to go. And you feel well, it sits well in your spirit. If you know you are living a promiscuous life, it has some cases where mistakes happen. But some of you who live in a promiscuous life and want to be all over the place. And then when you are with a child and you are not sure, the safest thing to do is come out and speak the truth as early as you can speak the truth, even if you're not sure. Because the later you take to come out with the truth, or the man decides to find out, because Trinidad and Tobago is a small place, everybody does talk. The later you take to find out, it causes more animosity within the male's mind, which can resort to death or domestic violence. And some of you don't even understand the severity of these cases. I have one more video with Mr. Fields, if we can play that video.
He was doing that, giving his mother the money, and he decided to get remarried. And after being remarried, he had to pay for them 2-3 years because she was pretty upset about that. So,
marriage trigger, she.
Yeah. So just the same thing
Emotional.
It was his new wife who brought Marlon to me. You understand? Because my husband we now get married, and it's jail he looking to make right after the wedding. So he decided that, he done facing jail already. The least he could do is do a paternity test. That's the only thing that could save her at this point. Not that he had any doubt or any suspicion that the boy was not his, because the boys, I think he was about 12 at that point in time, 13. So that boy is a big man right now.
So in this particular case, could you confirm that it was he, in fact, giving his money to her in hand, or whatever the case may be, or off record?
He was really giving her the money.
Right.
He was really giving her the money. The woman attacked me in the court when we went point 14 too, When we came with the results, I'm telling you, the police had to watch my back in point 14 court. Oh, I carry him to do the wrong test. That time Marlon went and do the test and then come and meet me, I carry him to do the test and he do the wrong test. He do a swab and he's supposed to use blood. In the court, the woman getting on like
going
that.
down line.
In the court. She going in the courtroom, the magistrate telling the lady, ma'am, this is not the man child. This is it. No. He didn't do any. He did do the wrong in the court.
So you see how some of them like to play wrong and strong. Because they know for a fact, but because of shame, because of feeling embarrassed, because you know the kind of life you was living underneath. And I always give hats off to Single Fathers Association, because if it was not for them, a lot of men today in Trinidad and Tobago would not know their status as either being the biological father or not. That you can go to them, if you are not sure, you can go to them concerning custody battles. So hats off to the Single Fathers Association. I rate them highly. And that all started because of Mr. Fields in the same predicament. Maintenance. So many people I see going through sitting down and saying they're not sure if this child is theirs, but they're scared. They're scared to go. Because if they find out the truth, they don't know how they're going to deal with themselves. So we have to, I am hoping and praying that somewhere down in the future, that it becomes mandatory that once you have to go to family court in terms of maintenance, that a paternity test follows immediately and the results is known before maintenance is paid. Because we're doing it back to front. So I'm hoping and praying that some solution and the cause that they are fighting for, that it is they take heed of it and it is addressed and a law is passed concerning that. So I wanted to bring this to the forefront because it is something that we don't really talk about that often. And these are social issues that affects us and affects the child. Make sure the child is the most important thing. It affects the child. So I wanted to bring that to the forefront today. We touch on a lot of topics. Tomorrow we have more to talk about. There's a lot of things trending right now in the current affairs and social affairs in Trinidad and Tobago. And these are things that we must address. We must talk about and make it relevant in our daily discussions. Let it be a part of our daily discussions and talking instead of talking nonsense that's going on social media. So thank you for joining me. It was a beautiful Wednesday today. Tomorrow will be Thursday, another day, another land in the living, and I'm praying and hoping that everybody reaches home safely. Be safe out there. You know how Trinidad and Tobago gets in. All love in the house. Blessings. God is love. Toodles.
You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
When security matters most, choose Catch Security Services Limited. We are proudly approved by the Ministry of Homeland Security. We protect your home, business, community, and much more. Our services include professional baton and armed officers, specialized K-9 units, mobile patrols, secure cash pickups, secure transport, and pepper spray applications and supply coming soon. Don't wait. Secure your assets now. Contact Catch Security today. Call 622-6601, email info@cssl-tt.com, or visit our office at 30-32 Saddle Road, Maraval.
Hi, I'm Joanne Ogaro, and welcome to Smart Talk. SMART is the acronym for the Single Mothers Association of Trinidad and Tobago.
And I am Melissa Brown. Smart Talk exists to give single mothers and families real conversation, real data, real advocacy.
And I am Shermaine Wickham Howe, President and Founder of the Single Mothers Association, highlighting all issues affecting single mothers, facts, situation, solution, empowerment. So tune in at 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. every Wednesday on Real TV with Smart Talk.
You're viewing Real TV, ultimate in programming. Thanks for choosing us.